Time now for sports on 104.7 The Cave. Here's Ned Reynolds.
Mike, the intern, Ned Reynolds. It's Wednesday, halfway point of the week, and I've had a great time watching the Royals this season, and I will stand on that hill. It's been frustrating the last week and a half, 2 weeks, especially since the pitching really has kind of held together in the stretch. In my opinion, it's just been the lack of offense, but somehow, some way, they found a little bit last night.
Well, they're going to be in, and I'll tell you how they found it out. But first of all, you make a very good point about the offense, and it's because Vinny Pascantino has been out of there.
You made that point yesterday, and you are 110% correct about that.
It is the chemistry in their batting order, but having said all that, they're going to make the playoffs. They win last night in Washington, D.C., 1-0 in 10 innings. And how did the winning run score? On an error, a throwing error by the shortstop. It allowed the ghost runner, that's the guy they put on second base. I think it's bogus, but that guy scored on a throwing error by the shortstop that got past the first baseman by 10 yards or so. Here comes the runaround. That was the game, but you've got to credit the pitching. Reagans was unbelievable.
Yep.
So was Bušić coming in relief. And, hey, the Royals are there. It's in the stars. Now, what's, I think, going to happen, Detroit Tigers also won yesterday behind Tarek Scuba, who is going to be the American League Most Valuable Player or Cy Young Award winner. They won 2-1 over the Tampa Bay Rays. So the Tigers and the Royals remain tied. The Minnesota Twins are in a dreadful offensive slump. They're now 2 games back with about 5 to go. That's going to be awfully tough to make up because the other 2 teams have to lose. So I can foresee the Tigers and the Royals either tying or one or the other coming ahead and gaining the edge. If they end in a tie, I don't know what I do know what the tiebreaker is, but I don't know how it works out. It's head-to-head competition between the two. I think Detroit probably has the advantage, but I do think the Royals are going to be in the playoffs. I think they're going to make it.
Fingers crossed. We will see. Still a little bit left. Another big award for the Springfield Cardinals. And what is this one?
Actually, it's a trio of awards, and this is amazing. But for the 3rd straight year, this is incredible. 3rd straight year, a Springfield Cardinal has won the league's most valuable players. Jimmy Crooks, he's the kid from Oklahoma, University of Oklahoma, and he is the Texas League most valuable player. A guy who had a great year, batted .321. Crooks is not a long ball hitter, but he did hit some clutch home runs, had 11 of them, 62 RBIs, and his defense was nothing short of outstanding. Terrific athlete. He will be probably in Memphis, but who knows, if he has a great spring, he could make the big club next year. He was the most valuable player in the Texas League. Tink Hence is the Texas League Player of the Year, although, of course, he left with an injury at the start of the playoffs. 4-3. 109 strikeouts in just under 80 innings of pitching. This guy's really something special. And then Jose Lajer, the Springfield Cardinals manager, is the Texas League Manager of the Year. Here the Springfield Cardinals won all this, and yet they didn't get into the final round of the playoffs. It's the Arkansas Travelers and the Midland Rockhounds, and that series is tied 1-1 with the championship to be decided tonight in Little Rock.
Might not be looking so good in St. Louis right now, but at least your future is somewhat bright from what I can see. Last thing I want to ask you is the golf competition happening this weekend, still with all this rain coming into the U.S.?
It's going to be north of here, not the rain. The competition is in Montreal.
Okay,
Montreal.
So they don't have to worry about the hurricane. That's
just
good.
Snow for them.
Well, is it already? Well, yeah, I guess it is September in Canada. That is possible.
You have to understand that the Ryder Cup between the USA and Europe, annual matches that gets a lot of publicity, is every other year. So in between they have the President's Cup, which is the USA versus really the world. It's the international team, and the USA leads this series 12 matches to 1 with 1 draw, 1 tie between them. USA has absolutely dominated it. They begin tomorrow in Montreal. USA team is pretty good. Jim Furyk is their captain, but it's the same basis as the Ryder Cup, only instead of Europe, it is the international stars.
So we know what happened with the Royals last night, but wouldn't you think, get out the champagne and the streamers and the noisemakers, the St. Louis Cardinals have won 80 games this year.
They did. Won their 80th last night at whatever they call it. I think it's Coors Field, or they may have changed the name.
The other Mile High Stadium in Denver.
They changed right and left, and you're never going to figure them out.
They're not that far away from each other.
Anyway, Colorado and St. Louis played, and by way of repeat, the Royals won last night 1-0. Tigers won, so they are still tied, and it looks as though they are going to be the occupants of the final two playoff positions. Minnesota slumped their way out of it. Anyway, Cardinals and the Rockies. Cardinals scored 4 runs in the 8th inning. Cardinals beat the Colorado Rockies 7-3. Hey, it's a win. Doesn't mean anything, but it's the win. That's what counts.
Has the Texas League champion been decided yet?
Has not, but it will be tonight. Down in Little Rock, Arkansas, assuming the rain hasn't gotten in there yet, Arkansas and the Midland Rockhounds will play one final, this best-of-3 series. Midland won on Sunday night. Then the series moved to Little Rock. Arkansas wins last night 3-1, and now the championship game in this best-of-3 will be tonight. They'll be the Texas League champs, but not the Texas League team with all the top players. That's the Springfield Cardinals, with Jimmy Crooks as the most valuable player, Tink Hentz as the top pitcher in the league, and Jose Lajer as the top manager. Great sweep for the Springfield Cardinals.
Yeah, they had a hell of a year, man. Big props to them for keeping the fire burning in that organization when it needed it big time. Last but not least, we are still early into the high school football season, but it's starting to see a picture there being painted of who are the top dogs right now.
Yeah, and keep in mind, these rankings that come out are not by class. There are 6 classes in the state of Missouri, and each team has its number 1 team and so forth and so on. This is overall. The committee up in St. Louis puts together the top teams in the state, and the number 1 team in all the state is St. Louis Cardinal Ritter. They've only won 32 straight games. They're pretty good. And Mike, interesting thing about Cardinal Ritter, they play a lot of their games with other teams from other states. For instance, last week they went to New Orleans and beat St. Augustine, which is one of the top teams in Louisiana. Most of the others, including the Springfield teams, play within themselves, within the district down here or the region down here, and that's because it's very difficult under their scheduling. Anyway, Cardinal Ritter, number 1, CBC in St. Louis is number 2, Lutheran North 3, DeSmet 4, and who's number 5? Wait a minute, where is Nixa in St. Louis? I don't know that little suburb. Nixa, the Nixa Eagles, are the number 5 team in the state. They are undefeated. Mike, they are very, very strong. It's a really good football team. Who knows what's going to happen in the postseason about a month and a half from now, but the Nixa Ball Club is really outstanding. Carthage, who Nixa beat last week, is 16th. Seneca is 17th. And Lamar, which suffered a most unusual loss last week, 35-34, is number 20 in the state.
Wow. Well, big props to the Nixa Eagles, and it's not really that surprise when you got a bunch of kids on there that could be starting on a top 10 college team, starting for your high school team.
I'll tell you what, their offensive and defensive line could play right now.
Those boys are big.
And I'm not just talking about the Bears, I'm talking about anybody. These guys are massive.
If you need any security down the road, you know who to call. Ned, you have a great day. I'll see you later.